As an Indian, what does anime mean to you? Dragon Ball Z, The Jungle Book, Pokemon, Beyblade, Cardcaptor Sakura, or Naruto? Those are probably all sweet childhood memories to you. If you're an anime enthusiast, you may have watched other great anime that never aired on Cartoon Network or Pogo. This interest would mean that you know for a fact that anime can be extremely complex, dark, and mature. Anime is different from other forms of animation for this very reason. In the early years of anime, it was made unique and separate from its Western counterparts with the addition of predominant science fiction elements. It's the beauty of anime that it can make fantasy and science fiction effortlessly believable. In fact, there's a very fine line between fantasy and science fiction. The Japanese beautifully treaded this line when they gifted India with a gem, Ramayana, the legend of Prince Ram. This film was made as a collaborative effort between India and Japan on the 40th anniversary of Indo-Japanese diplomatic relations. Now, I watched a lot of reviews of this film on YouTube, and most of them were Indians patting their own backs, talking about how Japan's culture is affected by Hinduism and how alternative versions of the Ramayana are false, etc. But at least these reviewers were happy with the film. This film was never released in theatres in India due to protests from groups that like to take pride in what they call Hindu culture. It never got its due as an Indian film, so really we have very little to be proud of. All this happened even though the depiction of the epic was very by the book and other cultural taboos were also taken care of. For example, Ram and Sita, who are repeatedly said to be the most beautiful people in the world, have skin as white as milk. This was clearly a strategic move because to us Indians, if our own dark skin is so unacceptable, how can we depict our gods as anything darker than the color of paper? But that's not what this video is about. I am here to talk about why I think anime is the best audiovisual medium for Indian mythology. This is the point where I should admit that I haven't watched enough anime to comment on the genre itself, so I'm just going to talk from my limited experience and what I have observed. One particular show that comes to my mind when watching the anime Ramayana is Inuyasha. Inuyasha is based on the shonen manga of the same title by Rumiko Takahashi. Shonen is manga aimed at young boys. So it makes sense that Ramayana shares similarities with this show since they both contain tropes like the damsel in distress, an adventure across different kinds of terrain, and facing off with scary monsters, which are all common in the shonen genre. Here we could note some interesting similarities between Japanese art and Indian classical art. For example, Rakshasas or non-human beings are often shown being completely human-like, except for their pointy ears and sharp teeth. These are very recognizable features to Indians as our traditional art forms often portray monsters in this manner. But what's interesting is that these features are commonly seen in anime as well. Not just on monsters, but all kinds of magical creatures. Speaking of monsters, their portrayal in the Hindu epics is meant to be glorious, unmatched by any human until a god comes along to slay it. But the monsters on audiovisual representations of the Hindu epics are rarely that. In fact, they are almost ridiculous sometimes. This film trumps every other film or show in this regard while maintaining the traditional Indian monster tropes. The portrayal of Ravan especially steals the show, as Ravan's true might isn't known until the very end of the war. Another factor that helps the Ramayana to ease into anime is the philosophy of a life of principles. Japanese culture is riddled with ideals similar to dharma. There are rules for battle, there is a code of conduct, and responsibilities that come with magical weapons. Greeting every person, friend or foe, and having an equal battle makes up the code of conduct in both cultures. But there's one thing that really makes anime a perfect outlet for Indian stories: the use of dialogue. Anime characters often self reflect and even have long conversations with their enemies before slaying them. Okay, let's just admit it. We Indians love some dialogue bazi. This also comes from our appreciation for articulate dialogue from our epics.
जब सीता को छुड़ाने के लिए हम निकले थे, मेरे हृदय में भी क्रोध और द्वेष था। पर मैं जब लंका पहुंचा, तभी मैं समझा कि हम सबको जीवन का जो अनमोल उपहार मिला है, वो भगवान की कृपा से मिला है। और ये अति आवश्यक है कि हम अच्छे मानव हों, केवल अच्छे क्षत्रिय ही नहीं।
Ramayana, the legend of Prince Ram, was obviously ahead of its time. But the question arises, would it be allowed to be released in India if it was made today? It was protested back in the day because gods and goddesses shouldn't be depicted as so-called cartoon characters. But then, a decade later, this was allowed to be aired. Yes, that's Lord Vishnu in a children's film, Dashavtar. Apparently, creepily sexualizing our gods in children's films is okay, but tasteful representations are just going too far. So, yes, that makes you wonder why this particular film wasn't allowed a release. I mean, I'm sure it has nothing to do with the whole Babri Masjid demolition and Ram Mandir issue that took place in the same year. I mean, I'm sure this was nothing political. Am I right, guys? But hey, even today, fundamentalists could find issues with this film to have it banned. For example, the humanizing of the Maryada Purushottam. Ram is shown to be angry when Sita is kidnapped, but he eventually realizes his higher purpose and grows as a person. That's a very human character journey right there. This film also skips Sita's Agni Pariksha, which is a disturbing part of the epic. I personally am glad they made this decision, but I'm sure there are a number of people out there who would be upset at the elimination of a woman's oppression. But what would really piss people off is the death of Ravan. According to my research, it remains unclear as to what happened to Ravan's body after he was killed by Ram. Some sources say that Ram performed the last rites. Others say it was handed over to Vibhishan and it is unknown what he did with it. But in the film, Ravan's end is shown in the most anime way possible. The main villain is usually given a lot of respect in anime, and that reflects in this beautiful scene. If you know of any version of the Ramayana in which a tree and green pastures grow over Ravan's body, please do let me know in the comments below. In these times of hate, it's especially calming to see a film like this, which looks at the beauty of our epics. This is an interpretation of Valmiki's Ramayana, and it's true that no two versions of the Ramayana are the same. No version of the Ramayana is bad or wrong. At the end of the day, it is just masterful storytelling that transcends time and space. Maybe that's what we could celebrate this Diwali. Hey guys, it's been a really long time, but I'm back and thank you for watching this video. And if you like this video, please leave a like and a comment and do share this, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also follow me on Instagram and Facebook if you don't already. I think there's a link in my description somewhere. Okay, thanks, bye.